Oke, thank you teman-teman yang sudah menyempatkan waktu. Jadi nggak perlu lama-lama lagi ya, waktunya juga mepet. Kita langsung aja. This is gonna be exciting because we are gonna have a chat with the one and only Sloan Struble. He is already here, so please welcome. This is Dayglow, Sloan Struble. Hello, Sloan. Can you turn on the camera for us? There he is.
Hey
Hey,
everybody.
hey man. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Yeah, this is fun. This is the first Zoom I've done like this with so many people.
Ooh, nice. So, um, please welcome the media in Indonesia. There are 6 media here. There are Sound Corners, Rockstars Magazine, Boleh Musik, Bingkai Karya, Seputar Musik, and also Heart Corner Collective. They are so excited to meeting you today. So let's get into it. But before that, I will introduce you to our media first. Jadi Dayglow ini teman-teman musisi yang udah merilis 2 buah album. Jadi Fuzzy Brain itu di tahun 2018 dan yang terbaru adalah Harmony House. Seperti yang kita tahu Fuzzy Brain itu sempat ada single yang jadi viral di TikTok, yaitu adalah single Can I Call You Tonight, which Sloan wrote on this very room, right? Because you are now in your
Yes,
parents' house, right? If I'm not mistaken. You
I am. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I'm here consequentially for tonight. So yeah.
Cool, oke. Jadi di tahun 2018 rilis Fuzzy Brain, terus di tahun 2021 di bulan Mei, di akhir Mei kemarin, dia merilis album keduanya yang berjudul Harmony House. Sedikit berbeda dari album yang sebelumnya di Fuzzy Brain dan di Harmony House ini, dia lebih explore musik yang agak 80s, 70s, something like that. So, I want to ask you about Harmony House, though, Sloan. You kind of like put a different perspective into your second album, this album Harmony House in particular. Why did you choose like
Mhm.
70s, 80s music vibe into it?
It's kind of just naturally what I was listening to at the time.
Mhm.
Um, I think every artist is kind of copying someone else.
Right.
Not to the fullest extent, but yeah, I was just listening to a lot of 70s and 80s pop records. And I just think there's so much musically to be discovered from
Mhm.
80s music. And I wasn't seeing a lot of that being I don't know, replicated right now, at least in the bubble that I'm in like the indie pop
Right.
world. So I thought, I would try to make an 80s indie pop album, just
Mhm.
for fun.
Yeah, and I bet it's a great choice because we are enjoying those album now, Harmony House. Jadi
Oh,
teman-teman,
thank you.
dia memilih 70 80-an itu karena memang dia melihat dari bubbles-nya dia, dari lingkungan sekitarnya dia, musik indie itu masih belum ada yang mengeksplor dan mereplikasi musik-musik di tahun 70 80-an, dan dia merasa there are a lot of things, banyak banget hal yang bisa dieksplor dari musik-musik 70 80-an. Sloan sendiri suka banget dengerin musik-musik tahun 70 80, jadi dia pengen mengembangkan hal itu lagi, lebih lagi. Dan itu terwujud di Harmony House ini. But first, I have to congratulate you because a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, you are performing in Lollapalooza. It's the first
Mhm.
time after a while you went and performing into a big audience, right? How does it feel, Sloan?
Yeah, it was nuts. Lollapalooza was a very big event, which was fun, but yeah, crazy because, it just happened so quickly. And I never would have dreamed I would have, gotten to take part in something like that. So it was just a really fun experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you posted on Instagram that you are having so much fun until you like what is it like rolling around in the stage.
Yeah. Yeah, we just, made the most of it and had fun on stage.
Oke, jadi throwback sedikit, di beberapa minggu yang lalu nih teman-teman, dia sempat posting, sempat tampil di Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza seperti yang kita tahu adalah salah satu event terbesar juga festival musik yang akhirnya diadakan secara offline, dan dia salah satu line up dan dia sangat excited sekali, sangat suka banget dan sangat apa ya, sangat menyenangkan sekali experience yang dia rasakan ketika perform di Lollapalooza. Okay, so that's all my question. Let's get into the media's question because if I ask too many questions, then they will not have the time to ask you some questions, right?
Sure.
Okay, so let's start with Sound Corner. Mas Gunawan, mau nanya langsung ke Sloan atau bagaimana? Atau kalau misalnya teman-teman ada pertanyaan-pertanyaan tambahan dari yang sebelumnya disubmit, boleh banget di-share di chat box-nya kita. Nanti kalau misalnya teman-teman mau menanyakan sendiri boleh. Kalau misalnya mau dibantu aku yang menanyakan juga boleh. Oke, Mas Gunawan boleh di chat ya mau nanya apa. Kita move on dulu ke Mas Jeko, Rockstar Magazine kalau begitu untuk pertanyaannya. So, Mas Jeko asked me to ask you this question. The first question will be like, what is the big theme for Harmony House? Is there like any connection between all of those songs on the album, Sloan?
Yeah, definitely so. Like I was just talking about, I was listening to a lot of 70s and 80s music and like nostalgic. I try to have a lot of nostalgia in my music. And another way to do that would be like watching old TV shows or movies. And a lot of people, do that nowadays. And so my first initial challenge for myself when making Harmony House was I wanted to write like the soundtrack to a sitcom that doesn't exist.
Okay.
And so Harmony House would be like the name of that sitcom. But that kind of set the tone of having it be like a season of a TV show. Like there's a very obvious beginning and ending, and making the album cohesive and telling a story.
I see. Okay, that's a nice what is like nice image and imagination that you have because I never thought that you imagine as a what is it like some soap opera or something like that, sitcom or something before you create
Kind of
the
like
album. That's great, man.
Hmm.
Jadi untuk menjawab pertanyaannya Mas Jeko tadi, Sloan bilang kalau misalnya di album ini memang dia sengaja menciptakan dan mengeksplor lebih lagi musik 70-80-an dengan menonton beberapa sitkom dan dia juga menamakan album ini Harmony House adalah untuk men-set tone atau membuat satu sitkom yang nanti akan menuntun lagu-lagu yang diciptakan di album ini Harmony House sesuai dengan nama Harmony House itu. Jadi dia membayangkan Harmony House-nya adalah sebuah sitkom yang diisi soundtrack-soundtracknya dengan lagu-lagu yang dia tulis di album ini. Semoga menjawab Mas Jeko. Next up we have boleh musik Mas Kenny, mau ditanya langsung pertanyaannya atau aku yang menanyakan? Di unmute dulu Mas. Soalnya masih mute.
Sorry.
All right. Mas Kenny will ask the question then.
Okay. Hi, Sloan.
Hi.
How are you doing? Can you hear
Mas.
my voice here?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I just want to know about your new album Harmony House. Is there your sounds like 70s and 80s? I just want to know about. Is there any particularly musician you inspiring you to make this album? Any musician
Sure.
or
Yeah.
artist?
I think what initially inspired me was just how different all of the pop stars from the 80s were from today. It's just so interesting to me how much pop culture has changed and how the people at the front of pop culture were just so like artistic and creative, and where people are definitely like that today. I was just interested in like, new wave bands like Duran Duran or something, or like, Whitney Houston's amazing. I love Paul Simon. He's probably one of my favorite artists. And just looking at how like much of musicians people were, because nowadays it's kind of like you have to be an entertainer first and then you happen to make music. where in the 80s it was like you had to make music and then figure out how to be an entertainer, you know?
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you.
Semoga
Of
menjawab
course.
Mas Kenny dari jawabannya Sloan. Okay, let's move on into next media. We have Bingkai Karya. Halo Mbak Yohan.
Halo,
Okay,
suaraku jelas kan ya?
yes, we can hear you
Okay.
clearly. So get into your question.
Okay, so hello, so
Hi.
I'm Yuan from Bingkai Karya. First, before I ask you, I want to congratulate you on your tour and new album. I heard that the tickets are almost sold out. I hope the tour goes well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Okay, so the question is, what do you anticipate the most on Harmony House tour?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think just having the opportunity to see people react to the album physically is going to be really exciting, because releasing music right now is so strange. It just kind of feels like you're letting it out into like a black hole or something, and it just disappears. And I love live music, and I love musicianship and playing a show, and being really creative about that. And so I'm excited to see how people react to the album being played live, because that's kind of how it was intended to be. And so it's kind of like when I released the album, it's like I'm releasing the album again, you know, like I get to play it live, and I feel like it's going to be experienced differently now that people can see it live, if that makes sense. So I'm excited for that.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you Mbak Yohan atas pertanyaannya. Speaking about live shows and performing live in front of audience. Next media, Mas Sabil from Seputar Musik, he asked me to ask you this question. Will there be like any showcase that you plan to do for promoting this album in particular? Any like maybe like a virtual concert or whatever?
We were maybe planning on doing that. And then truthfully, it was just kind of expensive because we were planning the actual tour production at the same time.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't line up where we could do it. So we're trying to figure something out. Maybe on tour, like doing a show that's virtual. But yeah, just kind of going rock and roll old school, just doing it on the road. I guess that's the way we're promoting it.
Wow, that's great. And maybe it's a great idea to like when you perform live in front of audience, you also performing to your virtual audience. That will be great though, because
Yeah.
the ambience that you have in front of the live audience, they can already feel at home as well, right?
Definitely.
Oke, so tadi jawabannya adalah dia sedang mempersiapkan memang tour, dan dia merasa kayak masih belum inline dengan virtual show. Jadi dia masih mencoba mencari satu hal yang bisa mengkombinkan antara dua itu, perform live atau dengan virtual live. Jadi semoga dalam waktu dekat bisa cari tahu dan dapat solusi seperti apa. Oke, next media we have Heart Corner Collective, Mas Robi and Mas I forgot your name, sorry. Mau nanya langsung, monggo silahkan.
Langsung bisa dengar. Do you hear our sound
Yeah.
correctly?
Yes.
Ya, bisa.
Yap, bisa.
Apa kabar Sloan? Apa kabar is how are you in Indonesian?
Wait, say that again? Sorry, I didn't understand.
Apa kabar Sloan? Apa kabar is like greetings. How are you in Indonesia?
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Hello. I love your background. I've been wanting to make a comment about it. That's awesome.
I'm Gibran and he's Robi. We are from Heart Corner Collective. Congratulations first on your recent releases, Harmony House. We have a few questions. First, do you ever intentionally see Indonesia as a good market for your new album?
Definitely so. Yeah. I've been wanting to come to Indonesia for a while. It's a far way away from Texas, but hopefully soon I can get to play some shows in Indonesia. That'd be really fun. So maybe in the next year or so. That'd be awesome.
Let's hope so. And second, let's say things getting better. Any chance to put Indonesia on your tour list?
Definitely so. Yeah. I mean, it'd be a blast. Yeah, I really want to figure out how we can make it work. So hopefully the tour just keeps going and the shows keep happening and tickets keep selling and we'll end up in Indonesia. That'd be awesome.
Amen.
All right.
With this condition, what is your effective methods to touch your listeners? Since even though we already internet connected, there are still missing feelings between live concert and the internet concert.
That's a great question. I've been trying to figure that out myself. It's hard to be honest. I mean, to connect with people, because for me, it's all about music. It's like the reason I'm doing all of this is because I make music and I love music and I love playing live music.
Yeah.
And I'm not really too into like the content side of things. Like I love making videos and music videos, but beyond that, I don't know. I've kind of struggled in like finding creative ways to connect other than playing live shows. So thankfully I can go on tour now again and meet people because that's, preferably what I would do.
Yeah, that's great. Last question. One more.
Mas,
Kita dulu,
kita
Mas. Let's
move
do
dulu
it.
ke
Diganti dulu,
media yang
diganti
lain.
dulu.
Jadi ini kita ada round 2 for the question.
Alright.
Hold the question for me so that we can ask later with Sloan. Kita move on dulu, move to another question from another media. Mas Gunawan already sent the question to us, Sloan. So Sloan, Mas Gunawan from Sound Corner asks, in your production process for this album, Harmony House, how far did you combine soft rock genre in 70s, 80s music in each of your work in terms of like color of the sound quality that you presented? Start from like how you decided to how to color the vocal or instrument. Is there like any traditional instrument that you use as well?
For sure, yeah. So a lot of what inspired the 80s production was that a lot of the gear that I was using was from the 80s. So a lot of synthesizers and keyboards that I had were recorded analog live into the computer versus using like plugins and MIDI and stuff. And so I wasn't using any like tape machines or anything, but I really studied how albums were made then and how certain instruments were processed. And I won't go too deep into it, but I definitely was very careful in approaching it as much as honestly and truthfully as I could, because the audio like integrity really matters to me. So hopefully it sounds authentic.
Great. So you try to push as authentic as possible to the 70s and 80s sound, right? Through the process.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Cool. So Mas Gunawan sedikit ditranslate. Jadi dia memang berusaha semaksimal mungkin, seotentik mungkin dalam menciptakan lagu di Harmony House ini untuk mereplika 70-80-an. Dia bahkan pakai synthesizer gitu. Terus ada keyboard juga yang dia pakai dan benar-benar dia berusaha semaksimal mungkin untuk bisa mereplikasi sound-sound yang dihasilkan semirip mungkin dengan apa yang dihasilkan di tahun 70-80-an. Semoga menjawab Mas Gunawan. Kita move dulu ke Mas Jeko from Rockstar Magazine. He asked also the second question from him. How do you feel to see your next month concert started to sold out and force you to add another day? Congratulations on that, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm just excited to like be on the road and playing music. yeah, it's going to be fun. I don't necessarily know what it's going to be like because I haven't gotten to tour in a bus or anything. So I feel like I should be more concerned about, you know, the songs and the way that we're playing live, but I feel like we have that down. So all I'm really thinking about is like what it's going to be like to sleep on a bus and like, you know, what I'm going to eat for dinner and stuff.
Right. Right. You can still order online though for the food, right? Or like
Sure. Yeah.
get someone to figure it out.
Yeah.
Oke, thank you Sloan. Jadi dia merasa excited nih Mas untuk turnya ini dan dia sudah mulai cari tahu gimana caranya untuk mensinkroniskan pemain bandnya dengan penampilan live-nya, tapi dia udah tahu caranya seperti apa. Cuman dia yang masih belum tahu caranya adalah gimana nih ngerasain tidur di bis karena dia akan tur melalui bis itu dan dia nggak ngerti juga caranya nanti gimana makan apa dan lain sebagainya. Okay, let's move on to next question from Boleh Musik. We are in the second round now. So, Mas Kenny, mau langsung nanya atau bagaimana, Mas? Silahkan.
Okay. Okay, so Sloan, I'm back again.
Awesome.
My second question is about the last month you performed at the Lollapalooza festival. It's a festival with the youth crowds. And which one you prefer? You perform on the big festival with another performer, or you did your own show?
Great.
Good. Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm still kind of figuring that out. I really think, honestly, I love doing like my own shows. I think it's like more fun to like have a small group of people and to have control over that opposed to playing in front of tons of people who kind of don't know my music, you know?
Okay, great question. Thank you, Mas Kenny, atas pertanyaannya. Jadi memang Sloan lebih masing-masing cari tahu nih mana yang dia lebih nikmatin antara dia perform sendiri atau festival, ya. Okay, next up we have Mbak Yohan again from Bingkai Karya. Let's get into the question, Mbak Yohan.
Okay, thank you. My second question is, I heard that Harmony House is an encouragement album. Can you share with us how do you usually encourage yourself, especially when you're feeling insecure or not feeling confident?
Sure, that's a great question. Man, I don't know. I think it's kind of something everybody figures out in time. I love making music. Music is really therapeutic for me, and writing songs that help me is really interesting because I do that and then I get to share it with everyone else. And so, yeah, I guess like writing music is the first thing that I do because it just is a gift in my life, I think, that I get to do that. And I don't know, I try to just have the biggest perspective I can and kind of zoom out a little bit. So I think a really good thing is just to remind myself that like everybody's got something going on, you know, and we can all be in this together if we decide to look at life that way. And I don't know, I just try to remind myself that there's people around me that are having hard days too sometimes. And yeah, just remind myself that we're all just people.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mbak Yohan, atas pertanyaannya. Let's move on to the next question. Speaking about writing music as well, is there like, from Mas Stabil from Seputar Musik, he asked, is there like any challenges that you faced during writing of this album, Harmony House? Because it took like 2 or 3 years to write this album, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the challenges weren't very like I didn't feel any pressure making this album because I just want to be as creative and fun as possible. And I'm really young. I'm only 22 years old. And so a lot in my life had changed since making Fuzzy Brain. So I wasn't really actively making an album. I was making a lot of music, but I wasn't really thinking about a second album. So that's one side of it. And then the second side of it is nobody else does anything for me. So I mix and write and produce and play all the parts. And so I guess probably traditionally that would just take more time. But yeah, I don't try to rush anything, and hopefully it was worth the wait. I don't know.
Cool. So it's like it's more like a one-man show that you have when it comes to creating this Harmony House album, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mixed the whole thing too, which is a long, tedious process that I really don't know any other artists who do that.
But it's worth it though at the end, right? Because we
It
know
is,
this Harmony
yeah,
House is
I
like a
think so.
gem from the top to bottom track, right?
Thank you.
Oke, so sedikit ringkasan dari pertanyaannya Mas Abil tadi dari album Harmony House ini dia tidak merasa banyak ini sih, banyak challenges karena dia benar-benar menikmati proses, enjoy the proses, dan dia sendiri yang produseri, mengedit dan lain sebagainya karena dia berusaha tidak memberikan jangka waktu untuk menulis, bahkan dia nggak ada inisiatif untuk merilis album, dia menulis lagu aja, jadi dia menikmati every process seperti itu. Let's move to the next question from Heart Corner Collective. We are joining again with Texas Chicken background. Hi Mas Robi and Mas Gibran.
Okay, Sloan, I have a question. For the second album, what song you think have a potential like huge and blow up the listeners like Can I Call You Tonight and the second album?
Like what do I think could potentially be the most popular song?
Yeah.
I think Close to You is a pretty fun and well-rounded song. If I had to pick one, I would probably pick Close to You. And that's kind of what's happened. It's been received kind of the quickest and the most. But I really like Close to You and Medicine. I feel like both of those are pretty timeless. I think I've just kind of looked at the way songs are being made now. And as much as I, have tons of friends who've made like TikTok songs, and like that's a really cool way to approach music and stuff. All of those songs kind of do this and then this. And I try to make songs that aren't really bound by like a trend or something. They're just kind of like just songs that could fit timeless scenarios. And I feel like Medicine and Close to You are songs that hopefully will just grow like this over time. And then when I'm 40, it could be a hit still. I don't know.
Okay, Mas Robi, thank you for the question. Great answer though, because I feel the same way when I heard the album, because it will not getting bored when you listen to it, like maybe like the next 10 years, next 15 years, I don't know, when you 40, maybe the album Harmony House became some sitcom or something with those track as a soundtrack.
Never know.
That would be cool, right?
Yeah. That'd be cool. I'm in no rush. I just want the songs are out now. So, whatever happens.
Okay. So the last question we got from Sound Corner from Mas Gunawan again. So he asked very technical question. So I tried to interpret it to you, translate it to you. So when you do some concert, what is the gear setup that you have? From what is the thing that you most likely to put on the gear that sounds so good? Is there like any special thing? I mean, like when it comes to mic selection or gear selection that you have compared to the virtual thing that you have, is there any differences in there?
Oh, good question. Yeah. I mean, I approach live music and recording music completely differently. So when I'm recording and in the studio, I try to go as analog as possible. If I can use hardware compressors, I go for it. I try to. But when I'm on the road, I really don't try to tour with as little as possible. I like it to be as light as possible, because nowadays you can get things that sound great, at least in my opinion, that are digital. Because I used to carry around a pedal board, and then every single show I would have at least one thing go wrong, you know, with the settings and whatnot. And so now I tour with like a Helix, a Line 6 Helix floorboard, which is like a digital pedal board, and I've loved it. So we don't have to carry amps or pedal boards. So me and my guitarist and my bassist all don't have amps, which is so nice because those are heavy. So yeah, I don't know. I love the Line 6 Helix floorboards, and we all play Fender guitars. I have a Fender Stratocaster. As far as mics, I don't necessarily have a favorite stage mic, and I guess a Shure SM58. You know, that's kind of everywhere. Assuming this is a gear person. And recording in the studio, I use there's a company in Austin where I'm from called Warm Audio, and they remake a lot of vintage gear for way cheaper. And I use a WA-87, which is like a Neumann 87 clone, and that's what I use on vocals.
Wow.
I'm done with all the technical stuff. There we go.
There are a lot of technical stuff. I try to.
Yeah, sorry for boring everyone.
I try, but correct me if I'm wrong. So when it comes to concert, kalau untuk konser dia berusaha analog banget, Mas Gunawan. Jadi ceritanya kayak memang dia berusaha seanalog mungkin dalam menciptakan lagu ketika dia menciptakan lagu. Tapi kalau konser dia berusaha seminimal mungkin untuk bisa menampilkan sound yang hampir sama dengan analog, karena sekarang banyak banget barang-barang digital yang sudah tersedia dengan sound yang kurang lebih sama atau bahkan lebih bagus. Dia lebih mengedepankan ke pedal board. Jadi dia ada pedal board, if I'm not mistaken, the name is Helix 600, 660?
Just a Helix 6.
Helix 6. Helix 6 itu adalah.
Yeah. I did not remember that you were translating all of this. I was like, I went on way too long. I'm sorry about that.
That's why I asked you for correction, right? Helix 6 for the pedal board, ada pedal board Helix 6. Terus kalau gitar dia pakai Fender, Mas. Terus untuk soundnya sendiri, untuk mic-nya sendiri, dia ada satu studio yang dia suka banget. Dia tempatnya di situ, di studio. Ada mic yang dia pakai. If I'm not mistaken, the name is WA-78. I'm not sure.
It's WA-87.
WA-87. Itu tadi mic yang dia pakai supaya dia soundnya lebih ke vintage gitu. Lebih ke yang dia mau seperti. Kurang lebih begitu teknisnya. I'm sorry if I'm translated so wrong because I'm not into that technical stuff.
Don't worry. We can translate it after the interview. So after the interview, we will re-listening again all of the recording.
Yes.
So Mas Gunawan nanti terjemahan secara detailnya nanti akan di-info ya.
Okay. So that is that is our last question for today. Thank you so much teman-teman yang sudah menanyakan pertanyaan luar biasa hari ini. Banyak banget pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang out of the box. There are a lot of questions that out of the box, right, Sloan, today?
Yeah, definitely.
Ini.
So, karena waktunya udah mepet banget dan kita harus mengakhiri obrolan kita hari ini barengan sama Sloan. Thank you so much, Sloan, for your time. Let's wrap up this media junket with last thing. We gotta have some photo session. So, Mas Robi and Mas Gibran sudah siap banget. Mas Robi and Mas Gibran ready with those logo in the middle.
Okay.
So
Okay, good. But before we have a picture together, Sloan, do you have any message for the media or maybe for your fans in Indonesia before we have a picture together? Maybe
I just
you want to say something for the.
I just want to ask it after the photo session, though. But yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. This is exciting, and I hope to meet you all someday soon in Indonesia. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yay!
I can't wait. I totally can't wait to meet you in person and getting to know you and catch up a little bit. Thank you, Sloan, for your time, and let's take a picture together.